If there's one truth that separates the men women remember from the men they forget, it's not charm, it's not money, it's not looks. It's something far deeper and far more dangerous. They know exactly what not to do. Most men waste their energy learning tricks, how to be confident, how to impress her, how to keep her attention. But here's the hidden reality. Attraction isn't just built by what you do right, it's destroyed by what you do wrong. In fact, the deadliest mistakes don't just lower your value, they silently erase her desire for you before you even realize it's gone. And here's where most men sabotage themselves. They think if they just try harder, if they're a little nicer, more available, more giving, she'll reward their effort with affection. But the truth? Certain behaviors don't just weaken attraction, they assassinate it. Quietly, invisibly, permanently. The worst part? Most men never even see it happening. They wonder, why did she change? Why did she stop texting back? Why is she suddenly cold, distant, different? By the time they ask the question, the attraction is already gone, vanished without explanation. But today, that ends. Right here, right now, we cut through the noise. No fluff, no fantasy. These are the 5 psychological sins you must never commit with a woman. Because if you want her respect, her desire, and her genuine feminine devotion, you must learn to avoid these like your life depends on it. Because in a way, it does. Let's begin. 1. Never seek validation from her. There is one invisible behavior that suffocates desire faster than any word you could say. It doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't chase her away. It quietly dissolves the image of you that attracted her in the first place. Validation seeking. It's one of the most common, most corrosive mistakes a man can make, and most never realize they're doing it until it's far too late. It disguises itself in small, innocent questions. Do you still like me? Are you upset? Did I say something wrong? But beneath those words is a signal that reaches straight into her core and tells her, this man doesn't know who he is. Validation seeking is emotional outsourcing. It's placing your identity, your worth, your certainty into her hands and begging her not to drop it. But here's the psychological truth. The moment she feels responsible for your emotional stability, the polarity collapses, the desire dissolves, and you become her burden, not her fantasy. She doesn't want to parent you emotionally. She wants to be pulled into your gravity, to feel your inner stillness, not your emotional dependence. So if you're asking, how do I stop this? Here's how a man of depth transforms. 1. Detach from her reactions. If you say something funny, do not scan her face for approval. If you make a decision, do not hesitate based on her expression. You lead, with or without her applause. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you powerful. Because a man who no longer needs a response becomes the man she craves a response from. 2. Give validation. Don't seek it. Flip the polarity. Observe her. Challenge her. Speak to the part of her she hides from the world. Instead of begging to be seen, become the one who sees her in a way no one else does. Don't compliment her beauty. 1,000 men already have. Compliment her essence, and she'll remember you for a lifetime. 3. Radiate confidence through indifference. Confidence isn't loud. It's not brash or theatrical. Real confidence is a quiet flame that says, whether you approve or not, I am already enough. And here's the paradox. The man who doesn't seek validation is the man who commands it, effortlessly. Because women don't chase validation seekers. They chase the rare man who stands so deeply in his own self-worth, he makes her question hers. This is how the spell begins, brother. You're not just becoming better, you're becoming unshakable. Not in a loud way, but in the quiet, grounded way that makes a woman's heart beat faster without knowing why. Thing number 2, never put her on a pedestal. There is a myth, one passed from desperate man to desperate man, like a secret spell that never works. If I treat her like a queen, she'll treat me like a king. But in reality, the higher you raise her above you, the easier it becomes for her to look down on you. This isn't hate, This is psychological wiring. When you place her on a pedestal, when you overpraise, overvalue, and overinvest, you don't elevate her experience. You shrink yours. And no woman feels desire for the man she must look down to love. Here's the dangerous truth most men never see. Worship doesn't build attraction. Respect does. And respect dies the moment she feels you're beneath her, emotionally, psychologically, or energetically. She doesn't want a fan. She wants a mirror, one that reflects her at her best, but never lets her forget you're standing at eye level. So how do you dismantle the pedestal and reclaim your masculine gravity? First, stop over-complimenting. The more you praise her beauty, the more numb she becomes to it. The more you flatter, the more she questions its truth. Compliments should strike like lightning, rare, powerful, unforgettable. Don't hand her your approval, make her earn it. 2. Build a life that doesn't orbit her. A man who puts a woman above himself usually does so because he's empty inside. He fills the silence of his own life with her noise. Don't let her be the soundtrack to your boredom. Build goals, forge meaning. Let her witness you in motion, not desperation. 3rd, challenge her, call her out. If she crosses a boundary, speak. If she acts entitled, correct it. A woman doesn't desire a man who bends. She craves the man who stands firm even when she pushes. Boundaries are not barriers to love. They are anchors of respect. Because the truth is, she doesn't want to be worshipped. She wants to be seen, challenged, emotionally danced with. She wants to feel your fire, not your fear of losing her. The more you pedestalize her, the less important you become. But the moment you hold your ground, the moment she realizes you're not trying to win her, you become the man she doesn't want to lose. Thing number 3, never let her control the relationship. Let's make something clear. She will test you, not because she's cruel, not because she wants to hurt you, but because at her core, she needs to feel who you really are beneath the surface. She will press against your patience. She will question your strength. She will subconsciously pull the wheel just to see if you can hold it steady. And if you flinch, if you fold, if you hand her the keys to the kingdom, she will lose respect for you instantly. Here's what most men don't realize. A woman doesn't want to lead the relationship. She wants to know that you can. She wants to feel the solid, grounded presence of a man who knows where he's going, with or without her approval, because that gives her permission to relax into her feminine nature. But when you let her dictate the pace, when you surrender your decisions just to keep the peace, when you tiptoe, apologize, explain, and over-accommodate, you stop being her man, you become her project. And here's what happens next. Desire dies. So how do you reclaim the axis of power? 1. Stop being agreeable just to avoid conflict. Agreement without conviction is weakness in disguise. You don't need to argue, but you must hold your frame. Say what you mean what you say. If she challenges it, let her feel your certainty, not your surrender. 2. Make the decisions that matter. Don't just ask, what do you want to do? Lead. Set the tone. A man who fears taking the lead will always be led. And once she's leading, the dynamic is already broken. 3. Stop apologizing when you've done nothing wrong. If you apologize just to smooth tension, you're teaching her that her emotions hold more weight than your truth. Don't apologize for being masculine. Don't apologize for having boundaries. Apologize only when you violate your own standards. Leadership is not control, it's direction. It's holding the wheel when the emotional winds blow. It's walking a path so powerfully that she wants to walk beside you, not pull you off course. Because deep down, a woman doesn't want to dominate the relationship. She wants to feel safe surrendering to a man who never hands away his crown. And when she senses that you are that man, that you can be kind but immovable, warm but unshakable, she will follow your lead not because she has to, but because she wants to. Thing number 4, never be afraid to walk away. There is one fear that enslaves more men than failure, more than rejection, more than heartbreak. It's the fear of losing her. And that fear, it will silently strangle your power, your presence, your masculine essence, until nothing is left but compliance. You'll start to tolerate disrespect. You'll start to justify her bad behavior. You'll bend your standards, silence your voice, and sacrifice your truth, all just to keep her around. But here's the paradox. The man who is least afraid to lose her is the one she'll fight the hardest to keep, because he's not there out of desperation. He's not orbiting her for validation. He's not staying because he needs her. He's staying because he chooses to. And that triggers something ancient in her instincts. When you have the power to walk away, calmly, cleanly, without hesitation, you are no longer negotiating for her attention. You become the prize she must earn. But when you cling, when you tolerate emotional chaos, when you play small just to avoid conflict, you become something dangerous in her eyes. A man who has no self-respect, and no matter how kind, loyal, or generous you are, that void can never be filled with effort, only with sovereignty. So how do you embody this? 1. Walk when she disrespects you. Disrespect doesn't always scream. Sometimes it mocks your goals. Sometimes it rolls its eyes at your values. Sometimes it crosses your boundaries with a smile. And the moment you tolerate it, you teach her it's safe to dishonor you. 2. Walk when she plays games, hot and cold, silent treatments, maybe energy. These aren't quirks, they're psychological power plays. You're not her puppet, you're not her entertainment, and the moment you recognize the game, you end it. 3. Walk when she stops showing up. If she's pulling away, if her effort fades, if she treats you like an option, don't explain, don't beg, don't analyze. Just match her energy and disappear, because silence has a gravity she can't escape. How to walk away with power. Don't announce it, execute it. The man who says you'll regret this is still seeking emotional leverage. The powerful man simply vanishes and leaves the echo behind. Don't make it about her, make it about you. You're not punishing her. You're protecting your peace. You're not escaping her. You're honoring yourself. Never look back. If you walk away for good. Checking in, texting her, watching her stories. These are silent screams of need. You can't walk like a king if you're crawling behind her online. And here's the final spell. A man who walks away from what disrespects him is a man who walks toward the life that was meant for him. Women don't desire the man who stays no matter what. They desire the man who knows when to leave, because that man has options. And a man with options? He becomes the gravity she orbits, not the follower begging to stay in her light. Thing number 5, never be inconsistent with who you are. If there's one thing that silently kills a woman's trust, desire, and longing, it's not what you think. It's not being broke. It's not lacking looks. It's not even failing. It's inconsistency, not just in your behavior, in who you are. A man who bends, who molds, who shapeshifts into whatever she or the world wants him to be, loses his shape completely. And here's the tragic part. He thinks he's being flexible. He believes he's adapting. He tells himself, I'm just being easy to get along with. But what she feels is instability, emotional unpredictability, psychological weakness. And her subconscious says, this man cannot hold me. Because if he can't even hold himself, what is there for her to trust? Women are wired for certainty, not the kind that screams or demands, but the kind that stands, the kind that moves through chaos with rooted presence, the kind that can laugh in freedom, cry in truth, lead in silence, and never betray his core. This is the kind of man she instinctively trusts, and trust is the cradle of feminine surrender. So how does inconsistency show up? 1. Saying one thing, doing another. You say you're into deep conversations, but act distracted. You speak of purpose, but live aimlessly. Every misalignment chips away at her confidence in you, not because you're evil, but because you're unstable. 2. Becoming a social chameleon. You change around your boss. You shift around your friends. You adjust your humor, your values, your tone, just to be liked. But every time you abandon your essence to gain approval, you trade masculine magnetism for external applause, and attraction evaporates in silence. 3. Switching roles in private versus public. If you're confident in public but insecure in private, if you act like a leader around others but shrink around her, her instincts scream, "This man wears masks. Which one is real?" And when she no longer knows which version of you to trust, she no longer trusts at all. The path to unshakable masculine identity. 1. Define your values, then die by them. If you don't know what you stand for, you'll fall for her mood, her test, her gaze. Write down what you value. Honor it, especially when it's uncomfortable, because that's when she's watching most. 2. Be the same man everywhere. In the boardroom, at the bar, in the bedroom. Consistency isn't about being rigid. It's about knowing who you are, regardless of who's watching. Adjust your approach, but never adjust your core. 3. Align words with action, every time. If you say it, live it. If you promise it, deliver it. Your word must become law, first to yourself, then to the world. Because a man who breaks his word with himself can never be trusted with hers. Why this matters? Attraction isn't built by charm, it's built by gravity. And gravity only exists where there's mass, where your identity holds weight. The strongest men in history, the ones who reshaped empires and hearts alike, were not men who sought approval. They were men who stood so deeply in who they were, the world had no choice but to feel it. Think of Marcus Aurelius, still principled, unmoved by applause or criticism. Think of Bruce Lee, fluid in motion, yet unbreakable in essence. Women remember men like that, because their presence wasn't a performance, it was a frequency. So here is the final truth, etched in fire. The man who is unshakable in who he is will always be irresistible to the woman who is tired of illusions. Don't try to be the man she wants. Be the man you are, at your highest, sharpest, most sovereign form. Because that man, he doesn't chase her love, he awakens it. So ask yourself, are you the man she earns or the man she forgets? Because in a world full of men who beg, bend, and break, the one who stands unshaken is unforgettable. If this lit something inside you, subscribe, return, evolve. This is the Stoic Architect, and your transformation has only just begun. I'll see you in the next one.